Hey, Bastish P-47 and welcome to a new episode of Shoot 'em Up Decades. And if you've never watched this series before, I take 3 different shoot 'em ups from 3 completely different decades. I review them and tell you why I like them. Okay, so let's go back to the retro 1980s for our first game look. I.O. hit up the Commodore 64 in 1988, a horizontal shooter by UK software house Firebird. They published a lot of games that I really enjoyed on my C64, including the excellent Bubble Bobble, Druid, and Raging Beast, and we're definitely no strangers to the 8-bit shoot 'em up genre. I.O. is a really slick game, putting you in the role of a pilot who has to defend a fleet of ships that are traveling to a new homeworld, who inadvertently get attacked by a bunch of aliens. I.O. itself is not a huge game with only 4 levels in total, with complementary boss showdowns, but it's a tough nut to beat. Even for veterans, this game is challenging. You'll have to make it pretty far in a level to start close after death, or else it's all the way back to the beginning. One bullet also does you in, losing all your pickups instantly, Konami style, except no chance of picking them up quickly afterwards. It's a game that requires memorizing patterns, which definitely helps, and powering up very quickly. Besides your useless regular shots, they're also glowing pickups, which if collected act as screen killers, but if you shoot them you can change them into orbs which attach to your ship for extra firepower. You'll definitely need 2 of these quickly if you want to get anywhere. Every level has a distinct style, and I love how the menu system at the bottom has that slick 8-bit metallic look, almost like a Thalamus game. Levels go from inside space stations, organic forests, Gradius styled alien mountains, and the big final biological hive. It's simple but quite effective, with some tough bullet sponge bosses that are completely unforgiving if you try to fight them without drone support. The sound effects are really good, it has a metallic vibe to it. It also sports a quick but very cool opening track by David Whittaker, but there's no in-game level music unfortunately. The graphics and design by Bob Stevenson are very impressive. As a shooter, it honestly offers nothing new, but it's still solid by design overall. The graphics are well executed, with great uses of color and animation. Bob's C64 graphics were always a super treat, and extremely diverse. I mean, he did Myth, The Pawn, and Salamander, anyone? Such diversity. Zap64 in issue number 35 from 1988 gave the game overall an 80%, with only the length of the game being its lowest score in their review. If you're a masochist or think of yourself as the king of shooters, give I.O. a go and be ready to be humbled.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
And now let's go on over to the 1990s for our second game look. P-47 Aces hit the arcade in 1995, published by Jalico, a frantic and pretty difficult sequel to 1988's P-47 Phantom Fighter arcade that was ported to almost all home systems at that time. Aces runs on Jalico's own Mega System 32 hardware and ups the visuals and pure on-screen action over the original by 1,000. You are part of a team of 4 distinct characters who you can choose from with their own planes and stats, and have to help take down the world-dominating enemy from the first game. Aces throws you into the action, lets go of your hand, and watches you die relentlessly. It's a shooter that throws everything at you and doesn't let you breathe for 1 second. You get to trailblaze all over the world through the game's 8 levels, wiping out hordes and taking out giant bosses, some of them even simply being the entire levels themselves. You get 2 types of upgrades, anti-air, which increases your main firepower, and anti-surface, which increases your bombs you drop on the ground targets. Plus you also get smart bombs, and you can upgrade each of the main weapons 5 times each to max them out. The game visually is a pure product of mid-90s arcade sprite-based quality, with wonderful animation and screens overloaded with bullets. Fortunately, the enemy's big yellow fire is very easy to see, but they do come in at such a rate that dying is going to become your best friend. The sound effects are also very good, and it has a pretty varied soundtrack featuring rock, jazz, and everything in between. The 4 characters offer up a lot of variety in terms of gameplay, and finding who works for you best is really part of the fun. The original was a pretty popular 80s arcade game, but Aces got a little bit lost in the mid-90s arcade 3D revolution, but I'd say it's still definitely worth playing. A tough but worthy sequel to its 80s big brother.
And now over to the 2020s for our final game.
Ginga Force.
Ginga Force was released by Cute Corporation originally in 2013 as a Japan-exclusive Xbox 360 game, but eventually brought to the West by Rising Star in 2020, and this review is based on that Steam PC version. Ginga is a vertical shooter for the most part, but does occasionally flip to a 3D-style third-person view for certain sections. The game is considered a spiritual successor to Cute's other shoot-'em-up Chatos, which I covered in my Xbox 360 Shooter Collection special if you're interested in checking that out. Like most of Cute's games, I'd consider this one an entry level to the genre. It's pretty forgiving, you can power up easily, and there's a generous amount of lives, so if shooters are not your usual thing, this will be a fun one to learn the ropes with. The story is actually pretty cool and plays out between levels, plus lots of in-game chatter, and involves you being a sort of space cop patrolling the planet Saventia and responding to heists or situations, usually involving scumbags trying to steal the planet's valuable resource, Septonium. The game has a lot to like, and interesting features, even though it looks pretty much like every other game in the genre from the 2010s. The 10-level story mode is the meat of the game, and is extremely cool. The story, as mentioned, is super fun and humorous, and gives the levels way more depth than they really should have. Collecting cash during the game lets you access the all-important shop, and this is where the game goes mental, where you can buy upgrades for your ship and weapons. There are literally thousands of combinations, and the more you play the game and stock up the cash, the better the experience gets, with upgrades for your main, sub, and specials, all giving the game almost a shooter RPG vibe. Besides a cool story mode and getting ranked on each level, which you can repeat at any time to better your score, and obviously hoard a whole lot more cash. You also got a super cool training mode called Judgment Force Tiger, a pretty obscure reference to Cute's own Judgment Silver Sword Wonder Swan shoot-'em-up game. In this mode you choose one of 3 preset ships and see how many short encounters you can survive with 3 lives. It's extremely addictive and a lot more fun than the also included Score Attack, which also offers online leaderboard support. The graphics aren't overtly flashy, very similar to Chatos with its 3D style and mostly a 2D playing game. Music is also standard Japanese rock and electronic beats. They get a little bit drowned out in the pilot chat and sound effects, but still add a decent amount of atmosphere. The heart of Ginga though is customization and its really fun story, which both combined will give you hours of excellent gameplay and plenty of shooter experience for newbies to the genre.
And that's it. I really hope you enjoyed checking out all these classic shoot-'em-ups. Thanks for joining me, Bastish B at 64K. I hope you had a good time. And if you can, please like and subscribe. That'll be greatly appreciated. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.